I have less than 96 hours to make a finished video game. Let's get to work. Synty Studios is an asset company that develops and sells some amazing asset packs for video game development. You may not know the company, but you almost certainly have seen some of their work in some very recent hits. While expensive, all these packs work really well together and are very compatible. For me, I have almost zero artistic ability and really enjoy the coding side of game development, but the asset creation and animation is really hard for me. These packs make it really easy to do. I'm not at all sponsored by them, and I actually try and pick these up when they're as cheap as possible. They have humble bundles every once in a while that let you pick up a lot of assets for dirt cheap. Sometimes they'll have thousands of dollars worth of assets for like 30 bucks. I also try to snag some of the sales for these packs like they're having right now for their 12th birthday sale. So here's the idea of the game that I'm trying to make. The theme of this jam is hide and go seek. Think Block Hunt or another game that has recently taken the internet by storm quite recently. I don't want to recreate a Block Hunt game or Mecha Chameleon. They've been done so many times, and I'm sure they're going to be done a bunch during this game jam. But I want to come up with something original. I have always been a fan, and I love the TV show Supernatural, and do want to make a full game inspired by it one day. So that's where the idea for this game kind of started. The entire show is about hunting monsters of all sorts, but we're going to specifically focus on the ghost hunting aspect. So here's my idea. In Supernatural, the ghosts are held back to Earth through some object they haunt. So basically, some object that was important to the person in life. So you're going to play as the hunter, trying to find this haunted item and destroy it with fire. While doing so, the ghost is haunting you, and you can only temporarily stop it by shooting it with shotgun shells filled with salt. That's what it is in Supernatural. Let's get to building it. So for day one, I just got home from work, so I don't exactly have the full 24 hours, but I only have a few hours left in the day, so let's get a lot of the base game set up. My original idea was having 3 different maps using the Horror Carnival Park, Ancient Empire Pack, and Casino Pack. I was originally going to build my own scenes, but these packs actually came with their own demo scenes that would work great. If I was trying to make money off this game, I would feel sleazy for that, but I need to be quick, and these are better than anything I can do in a short time. I'm not trying to make an asset flip here. I'm not making any money off this. This is simply so I can learn, and I'm not trying to learn level design in a weekend. I opened the seams up and trimmed away a lot of the parts that wouldn't work and made them all the same night theme from the Horror Carnival pack. The casino pack was eventually cut, but the other 2 look incredible, and I love the way they feel. I also made the main menu for the game and called it a night. Day 2, the focus today is getting the core gameplay loop down. One of the things I learned this jam is how useful it is to create a scene just for building, so that's what I started to do today. The first step is getting the character controller working. Again, Synty makes this really easy as dragging and dropping. They have a base character in a pack called the Locomotive Animation Basic Pack. I dropped that into the scene and it started working absolutely perfectly, jumping, crouching, running, walking, everything. And I could choose any character from any of the packs, so I grabbed one that looked like a hunter from the show Supernatural. Next, I made the inventory for the player. I originally wanted 4 things: a shotgun, a lighter, an EM detector, and a crowbar. In Supernatural, iron bars can send ghosts back, but I just didn't have enough time to finish that last one. I used a modern menu interface pack to set up the main part of the inventory, use the icons from the pack. The only thing that I didn't have the icon for was the lighter, so I had to get creative and take the icon from the Synty store to modify the background, and then I used that as the icon. While the character was mostly done, I wanted to get the main loop of finding the item working. The player has to hold the EM detector, and they can see through the bar at the top how far or close they are and basically play a game of hot and cold. Now, I didn't realize at this time, and it wasn't until someone mentioned it, but it actually introduces a challenge I didn't intend to be in the game. Basically, the player has to hold the EM detector while they're trying to find the object. That means they can't be holding their shotgun at the same time, so they have to have quick reaction if they ever find the ghost. Next, I made the basic menu and set up a script for the detector that grabs a haunted object from the scene, calculates the start distance, and then moves the bar closer as you get closer. I added a sound that pings more often as you get closer, and that part was done. The next part was integrating it into the different maps. For each map, I wanted a different item to be used, so I wrote a script that changed the material and color based on the scene. Again, Synty makes this really easy with all the items they have. Then I went around into each scene and chose about 10 different spots that would make it okay for the items to spawn and set up spawn points for them. Now, both scenes automatically generate a haunted item at a random location. I should have done more today, but on to day 3. The first thing I wanted to do today was enable destroying the haunted objects and set up the basic win-lose conditions and the menu flow for that. I used the same animation to hold the detector as the lighter, so that was easy enough. I made it that if the player was looking at the object and clicked on it while holding the lighter, it would go up in flames. I used the burning particles from the FX pack for this effect, and also used a basic outline package to create an outline around the item being looked at. That way the player could tell what item needed to be destroyed. Once the item was destroyed, I set up a win-lose screen that told the player how long it took them if they won and displayed a message if they lost. My goal with this was kind of create a way that the player could replay even if they had played both the maps. This way they could try and beat their personal best score. Now to make how they would lose, which is the ghost. I found a character for each scene that I really liked and made the new ghostly materials for them. Basically, I changed the color to white and I really amped up the transparency. I set up really basic pathfinding through the nav mesh system in Unity that allowed the ghost to just come towards the player and go around all the objects in the scene. It turns out the falling animation for the Synty controller actually looks a lot like what I was going for the floating ghost, so that was really easy to integrate. If the ghost gets too close to the player and touches, that's when the player loses. That's when you die. I added that and sent the player back to the lose screen. Next was implementing the shotgun to temporarily send the ghost back. Again, animation is not my strong suit, and it took me quite a while to make a decent animation to hold and to fire, but I got it done. I really would love Synty to come out with more animation packs. However, it looks like they actually don't have an animator at this time, which is really unfortunate and really sad. But I did also use a website called Mixamo during this, and that was actually really helpful. I found a good animation on that site for when the ghost got shot to make it kind of look like they were falling back or sort of flying back like you would see in the show. I was able to hook that up with the ghost and it made it really easy. And that's all I did today. And on to the last day of development. So for day 4, there is less than 24 hours to submit this game, and I just got home from work pretty late, but that's not going to stop me. I finished up the ghost and the shotgun, letting the player shoot the ghost to destroy it, basically temporarily sending it back to the lobby, and then it'll spawn back in a few seconds. Then made a ghost manager that would be in charge of spawning and respawning the ghost. I didn't want it to come from the same spot on the map every single time, so I used the spawn locations of the haunted item that were already left there as the good spawn locations for the ghost. For each map, I tested spawning all ghosts at once to make sure they could all get to the player, and I ran into a few problems with pathfinding, but I got it cleaned up. With that, that was the main game loop done. The ghost spawns, you have to search and not die, and once you shoot it, it will respawn and start hunting you again. I added some cool effects to the ghost, fire, and shotgun from this neat sound effects website and some of the Synty packs. I added some really cool effects to the shotgun, such as a shell falling out and a barrel explosion. I wrapped up the game by adding a simple tutorial and then a credit scene given to credit all the packs I used and any sound effects artists. Last thing I had to do was submit, and it has been quite a long day. It was a really great experience getting to go from A to Z on a game, designing it, developing it, and polishing it pretty much all the way through. I could have done some more polish, and there's a few glitches and a few things I would still like to add to the game, but I learned an absolute ton. So here are some of my takeaways. Number 1 is to remain modular. I had 3 scenes at first that all needed the same gameplay loop. I made all the objects easily interchangeable across the scenes, and this really forced me to make good, clean code that could be used in every single scene. The build scene, what I used was instrumental. It was the first time I'd ever used something like that, a scene that was just devoted to development and not worrying about polish. This let me really focus on things like the EM detector, creating the character controller, and dealing with the ghost animations. It forced me to make the code modular because it wasn't in the main scene, and it let me focus on the key gameplay parts without trying to 100% polish it and letting scope creep in. Speaking about scope creep, that leads me to number 3. I need to plan out the development much better and make a better timeline. I did way too little on some days and had way too big of a plans. There was supposed to be a multiplayer aspect and a lot more ideas, but next time I will make sure I go into this with a full plan, fully fleshed out, and a very compact timeline. For number 4, when I actually submit the game, I need to make it easier to play. I was very tired, so I really just built it for Windows, uploaded the zip, and that was it. I could have exported the game very easily to WebGL and allowed players to play it through the browser on itch.io. I got some reviews, but I probably would have gotten a lot more if people could actually just play the game in the browser. Thank you so much to Synty for hosting this jam. I hope you all enjoyed seeing this process, and please let me know what you think of the game. I'm planning on making some tutorials about this, but I hope everyone has a really great day.